Last week, I was on a website called Collecting Cars. It's an auction site, and I was browsing, as you do. A Ferrari Purosangue came up, and I was like, I wonder how much this is gonna sell for. So I clicked watch. Next thing you know, I have a Ferrari Purosangue. This is the first time I've ever bought a car in an auction, and I'll say I'm pretty proud of the purchase. I had a Purosangue on order anyway. However, that's a long and interesting story when you find out what happened. But for now, this is my Purosangue in this wonderful Blue Americas color. It's a special request color, so that means it's an expensive color outside of the normal Ferrari color catalog. A Purosangue with no options comes to about 340,000 Great British pounds. Considering this was 356,000 in auction, that was a win because I saved probably 100K. Also, I called Ferrari and I said, if I was to sell this car to you, how much would you give me for it? And they said way more than I paid. So again, win. But yeah, this color is Blue Americas. It has a little hint of purple in it. It's a cross between Viola Hong Kong and Blue TDF, someone said. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it looks like that. In this wonderful British sunlight, you can definitely see the color pop. The car has the full carbon fiber exterior pack, so you have carbon fiber on the arches. Along the side of the car, unfortunately, I don't have the braggadocious painted shields on the side like I did on my Ferrari 812, but these are fine for now. Anyway, we go to the rear of the car. You have more carbon fiber, this wonderfully large carbon fiber diffuser that just reminds you that you're in a Ferrari and you're not in a Mazda that people think this car is, which is not. It looks nothing like that. On the rear, you also get the new design language with the rear tail lights. No longer are they circle on Ferraris. We now have the Roma, the 296, the SF90, the SF90XX, and the Purosangue, all with these strip elegant lights. A moment of silence for the circle Ferrari lights. Purists would say that this isn't a Ferrari, and well, it's called Purosangue, which means thoroughbred, because Ferrari have so much confidence in this car that they think that it's the true essence of a Ferrari in SUV form. Although I probably shouldn't say SUV because I'll probably get shot by a random Italian. Ferrari call it an FUV. This car's been quite controversial with the way it looks. I'm here to show you that it's not controversial with the way it drives. So I think we should hop in and I was gonna say let it rip, but this isn't Beyblade. Driving the car, the first thing you notice is how stable and how planted it feels. Ferrari gave this car a new suspension system developed by Multimatic that is basically motors on each corner of the car that operate a screw that keeps the car level. So because of that, the car doesn't actually need anti-roll bars. It also means the car can stop itself from pitching and diving, as well as keep itself level when it's going around corners. A fun suspension fact, each corner of the car, suspension electric motor that is, has more torque than the engine of the car. And speaking of the engine, it feels and sounds amazing. So the naturally aspirated 6.5 litre V12 is mounted far back in the front of the car, making this car a front mid-engine mounted car. This allows the weight distribution to be pretty balanced. So at the back we have 51% of the weight, and at the front we have 49%, and that's partly helped to the fact that the rear axle is a trans axle, so the gearbox is back there as well. Speaking of gearbox, there is a second gearbox in the front, which is a crank-driven 2-speed gearbox that powers the front wheels. This was done not only to save weight, but to allow this like sweeping proportion of the car. It means also that the car is only rear-wheel drive over 124 miles an hour, which is a random fun fact. I think it's 124. I have to fact check that. I keep talking about the engine, the way it handles, but one thing I have to comment on is the gearbox is so snappy. Ferrari know how to make a good gearbox. And this dual clutch gearbox, when you're in automatic, it operates well, but as soon as you put it in manual, you get so much feedback and so much encouragement, allowing you to drive fast and believe in yourself. And also, column mounted paddles, which mean that you can slide it around. I would slide this, but I own these tires, and I've bought 3 sets of tires in the last 4 weeks, and the Revuelto needs a new set, so I'm not doing that ever again. When we put the car into comfort mode, as it is in now, the suspension slackens up, it goes into soft mode, and then it provides you with a cool and relaxed drive. Even when it's in the hardest mode, it doesn't feel too harsh, it still feels comfortable, which is a nice and reassuring thing to have in a car that weighs 2,033 kilograms. I've owned the Cayenne Turbo GT, I've owned the Urus Performante, I had an Aston Martin DBX 707 for about 2 months. And out of all of those, this car is the most confident, inspiring to drive. It's a bit difficult, you can't really compare it to them because those cars are actually SUVs with space for 5 adults, whereas this is more of a raised up car. I guess that's what they call a crossover nowadays, but it just feels a bit more focused on road behavior, whereas those cars, they just feel like you can drive them every day. You could drive this 340,000 pound car with no options every day if you wanted to, but I'm not sure if you would. I'm not sure. I mean, I would, but I'd drive my SVJ to Sainsbury's, so who am I to talk? We'll go on to the interior. If I pop open these electrically assisted doors, you have a wonderful tan leather interior. I can't remember the actual name of the color, which is the annoying thing sometimes about when you buy something from like an auction, because you don't exactly know what everything is because you didn't spec it. But the interior is beautiful. It's got the Ferrari cockpit that we have in the SF90 and the 296, the updated Ferrari steering wheel that is much hated, but I actually love it. But I think it's one of those things that you have to kind of get used to. And then also, the rear of the car, you have the electrically assisted welcome doors, because the other word for these doors will probably get you cancelled. But in the back, there's enough space for a 6-foot adult like myself to sit behind my own seating positions. I also have my son's car seat in here, which is assisted by the fact that these welcome doors open so wide. So imagine me with my child, I can take him and just put him in the car without having to do this. So if you're a parent and you're looking for an SUV, ta-da! The car has the slowest moving trunk of all time apparently, but it has the largest loading trunk that's ever been in a Ferrari, bigger than that of the GTC4 Lucio and the Ferrari FF. And behind here you have this that I'm not sure, that feels expensive, I'm going to leave it there, but you have this wonderful spec sheet that tells you all the options that came with your car. But yes, the slowest, that's not very fast. The car's fast, that's not fast. Wow. Oh my God. You know what? You never get that burst of torque that you get from a turbocharged engine, but it's so rewarding to rev it out and feel the car picking up speed. I think I prefer that, and it feels a lot more controllable. This car has the same engine as the 812 Superfast, which obviously has the same engine as the F12, which, fun fact, had the same engine as the LaFerrari, just slightly different. So in this form, because they know it's for an SUV, and it's for like daily use, what they've done is tuned it to have lower down torque. So you get the torque a lot sooner than you do with the 812, which again, it means that you can pull away with this amount of weight quite confidently, but it's still not the same as having a turbocharged engine that can just dump the torque on you at like 2,000 RPM. The only thing I'll change about this car, I think, is the tire compound. It's like a bespoke Bridgestone tire, which, I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't have the feedback and it doesn't have the reassurance that you get from a Pirelli P0 Corsa or a Michelin Pilot Sport that the competition's fitted with. So, why am I slapping the car? Like a booty. So what do I think of the Ferrari Purosangue? I'm fighting that. Well, I consider that this car, unlike a normal SUV, it's something else, it's something different. It manages to capture a lot of the Ferrari essence, but in a more usable platform. It also gives you the courage to drive this car in all environments. Despite the fact that it still gives you that agile Ferrari feel, it still feels controllable and it still feels poised. I think as a daily, this is a great car. I mean, for 450,000, including options, I might be less enthusiastic, but for 356, that's still a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, this was really expensive, but you only live once, I guess.